Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. In this video, we're going to do the 2018 season standings predictions. In the AL East, we got 5 teams. First, I see the New York Yankees with a record of 93 and 69. Second, the Boston Red Sox with a record of 91 and 71. Third, the Toronto Blue Jays with a record of 81 and 81. Fourth, the Baltimore Orioles with a record of 73 and 89. Fifth, the Tampa Bay Rays with a record of 71 and 91. In this division, the Yankees and the Red Sox are the best 2 teams in this division. I personally think the Yankees are a little bit better than the Red Sox. The Red Sox also signed J.D. Martinez in the offseason to a 5-year deal. So with the Toronto Blue Jays, they are a really good team, but they're not a playoff team this year. After falling 500 last season, I just had no hopes after they did that, because I thought they had a chance for the World Series in deep playoffs last year. But they didn't, so that's why I don't see them doing great, but I think they'll be 500 or close to 500 this year, and they will be sellers this year. I personally think the Baltimore Orioles will be sellers for this season, and they won't be great, but they won't be bad either. Basically, the Tampa Bay Rays are going to be sellers this year and are in the rebuilding mode, so be prepared for them to trade any good players they have left in July. So in the AL Central, we got 5 teams. First, I see the Cleveland Indians with a record of 97-65. Second, Minnesota Twins with a record of 88-74. Third, Kansas City Royals with a record of 75-87. Fourth, Chicago White Sox with a record of 71-91. Fifth, Detroit Tigers with a record of 62-100. The Cleveland Indians are looking for redemption after they lost to the New York Yankees in the ALDS. I think they're going to have a deep playoff run next year and maybe a World Series title. The Minnesota Twins are a good team, but are they going to be able to make the wild card? But I personally think they will make the second wild card spot. The Kansas City Royals are not going to be a great team this season, especially after they lost Eric Hosmer and a couple other players to free agency. But they won't be bad, but they won't be good either. I think they're going to be okay. The young team, the Chicago White Sox, are going to be a fun young team to watch this season. They won't be the best team, but they'll be one of the fun teams to watch as a team that will be under 500 this season. So will the Detroit Tigers be any good? I honestly don't think so. I don't even think they'll be that competitive. Their pitching will be terrible, their offense will be okay, and I think Miguel Cabrera will be traded sometime this year. So with AL West, we got 5 teams. First, I see the Houston Astros with a record of 98-64. Second, the LA Angels with a record of 84-78. Third, the Seattle Mariners with a record of 83-79. Fourth, I see the Texas Rangers with a record of 75-87. Fifth, the Oakland Athletics with a record of 71-91. Do you guys think the Houston Astros will repeat as World Series champs? I honestly don't. The reason why is because there hasn't been a team to do that since the 1998 New York Yankees through 2000 New York Yankees. Has never been a team to repeat since then. There have been teams to go back, but never repeat. And they need a little bit better bullpen if they want to do that, and their offense is a juggernaut. So this team is capable, but do you really think they are? Because no team has done it since the New York Yankees. The Los Angeles Angels, are they wasting Mike Trout's talent? Maybe, maybe not. The reason why I say that is because they're a really inconsistent team. Like in 2014, they made the playoffs, everyone picked them to go to the World Series, and they didn't make it. 15, they didn't make the playoffs. 16, 17, they weren't even that good. So do you think in 2018 they're going to make the playoffs? I honestly don't think they are, but I think they'll be about 500 or better. Are the Seattle Mariners finally going to break that 16-year playoff drought? Maybe, maybe not, but their offense is really good. Not as good as Houston, but good. Their pitching is the culprit on why they haven't made the playoffs for the last 3 years especially. Like in 15, their bullpen was so terrible. 16, their bullpen was okay, but not great. 17 was the culprit. Then 18, you never know for sure, but starting pitching didn't help either. So, and Ichiro just came back to a 1-year deal. So do you guys think the Seattle Mariners will finally break this 16-year drought? Are the Rangers going to be really good this year, or are they going to be really bad? Just last year they weren't great, but they weren't good. The year before that, they were really good, and their offense was tremendous, but their pitching was not great either. but they still made the playoffs. But this year, I honestly think they won't make the playoffs because their bullpen and the starting pitching is not great at all, but their offense is really good. So their offense will be their strength, and the pitching will be their kryptonite. Who do you guys think the Oakland A's will trade next? Because they're not going to be going anywhere in the playoffs this year. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're not going to be on over 500. So I honestly think that they're going to be trading all their best players in July for prospects. So in the NL East, we got 5 teams. First, I see the Washington Nationals with a record of 97-65. Second, I see the New York Mets with a record of 82-80. Third, Atlanta Braves with a record of 77-85. Fourth, Philadelphia Phillies with a record of 76-86. Fifth, I see the Miami Marlins with a record of 61-101. So the Washington Nationals are a one-man team. They are a really good team, they have really strong pitching, they have a really good offense, but their bullpen is their kryptonite. Can they finally get past the National League Division Series this year? So are the New York Nets going to be good or bad? Honestly, I think they're going to be around 500 or maybe a game over 500, but I don't think they're going to be a playoff team this year, maybe next year, but if they want to make the playoffs, their pitching core has to be 100% healthy, and they cannot be terrible like they were last year. So are the Braves going to be any more competitive this season? Yes, I actually think they are, but they're not going to be a playoff team. They're going to be around 500 or less, but they are going to be a lot better than they were. So the Fighting Phils, the Philadelphia Phillies, are one of those teams that were predicted to do a lot better last year, but they didn't. They only won 66 games last season. I think they're going to be a lot better. I don't think they're going to be a 500 team, but I think they're going to have at least a 10-game improvement, and they're going to be a lot better overall. So who are the Miami Marlins going to trade next? They're going to be trading any players that can fetch them any prospects that do really well this season. Other than that, I think they're going to be a terrible team and not do great. In the NL Central, we got 5 teams. First, I see the Chicago Cubs with a record of 91-71. Second, Milwaukee Brewers with a record of 89-73. Third, I see the St. Louis Cardinals with a record of 86-76. Fourth, Pittsburgh Pirates with a record of 71-91. Fifth, Cincinnati Reds with a record of 70-92. So can the Chicago Cubs get back their mojo from the 2016 season when they won the World Series? Yes, I think they can, but their bullpen and their pitching was not as good as when they won the World Series. If their bullpen and pitching get a lot better like they did in 2016, yes, they do have an opportunity to win a World Series and maybe have a deep run in the playoffs. So the Milwaukee Brewers are going to be a really good team. They're not going to be the best, but they are going to be a wild card team, and they will be buyers at the trade deadline. And their offense is going to be really good. So with the St. Louis Cardinals, they have missed the playoffs back-to-back seasons for the first time since 1997 to 1999. That's pretty weird because St. Louis usually makes the playoffs every year, and if they don't, it's usually really rare. And I actually think they're going to be a wild card team this year, and they might have a chance for a World Series title, and their offense is going to be really good. So the Pittsburgh Pirates are basically in the rebuilding mode this season, so they're not going to be that competitive, and they're going to be okay, but not really competitive. But overall, I think their offense is going to be okay, and their pitching is going to be okay too. But overall, not that good. So the Cincinnati Reds are a weird team. They have won the same amount of games back-to-back seasons. And that's really weird because that usually doesn't happen. But once in a while it does. But I think they're going to have a little of improvement. Maybe 70 or 71 wins this season. But they are going to be a little bit better. So with the NL West, we got 5 teams. First, I see the Los Angeles Dodgers with a record of 99-63. Second, I see the Colorado Rockies with a record of 87-75. Third, Arizona Diamondbacks with a record of 85-77. Fourth, the San Francisco Giants with a record of 79-83. Fifth, the San Diego Padres with a record of 75-87. The LA Dodgers lost the World Series to the Houston Astros last year. That was a huge disappointment. And I honestly think the Dodgers are going to go back to the World Series and maybe have a chance to win the World Series, but they will win the division for sure. The Colorado Rockies are going to be a really good team this year and even possible a wild card spot. I honestly think they are going to make the wild card, and they have a juggernaut of an offense. Their pitching is a kryptonite, but overall I don't think they're going to catch the Dodgers for the division crown, and they will be buyers in this July. Are the Arizona Diamondbacks going to be as good as their 2017 season campaign? I honestly don't think they're going to be as good, but maybe a wild card spot. But their offense is going to be hurting a little bit after they lost J.D. Martinez in free agency. So the San Francisco Giants were so terrible last year that was their second worst season in franchise history. I honestly don't think they're going to make the playoffs this season, but they're going to be close to around 500, and after they got some free agent players and some trades, that they're going to be a lot better team this year. But I think their bullpen is still going to be their weakness. The San Diego Padres are going to be a lot better team this year, but they're not going to be a playoff team, and they won't be a 500 team, but they will be around in the mid-70s range. But after they got Eric Hosmer, that helps them a lot on offense. After they were the worst offense in the majors last year, but they still won 71 games last year. That's pretty amazing for a team that had the worst offense. But overall, I think they're going to be a lot better. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe and like. I'll see you next week, and make sure to give me your predictions on how the season will go.